Wait! Molly, wait!
Symbolically, the attic represents Beau's unconscious mind, which he was never able to access before. As the attic is the highest part of the house, it also represents Beau's most repressed memories and desires. By entering this forbidden space, Beau confronts the darkest parts of himself, his childhood fears, his insecurities, and his unsolved conflict with his mother. The monster's reveal is a visual representation of these psychological elements and makes the scene both horrifying and deeply meaningful. This man's father is a big ol' filthy dong. Excuse me? I'm talking about Beau from the horror comedy Beau Is Afraid. It's one of those films that will leave you scratching your head and nervously laughing at the same time. Today, I'm going to dive into the attic scene and break down all that makes this monster so intense. To stay up to date on all my scene breakdowns from the best and the worst of horror movies, please subscribe to the channel. I post new movies every week. Directed by Ari Aster, the mastermind behind Hereditary and Midsommar, this film takes you on a wild, anxiety-inducing journey that's as much about confronting inner demons as it is about surviving external chaos. The movie stars Joaquin Phoenix as Beau, a middle-aged man whose life seems to be diving into an absurdity the moment he steps out of his house. The whole movie revolves around Beau, who is suffering from guilt, trauma, and his stained relationship with his overbearing mother, Mona. When he learns about her sudden death, he embarks on a journey to attend her funeral. But this isn't your typical road trip, but one that is filled with bizarre, blending dark humor, nightmarish scenarios, and deeply personal symbolism. It's a movie that's as much about escaping one's fears as it is about facing them. And speaking of fears, there's one scene that truly stands out, and it's the infamous attic scene. It's where the story takes its most shocking turn, revealing a horrifying monster. But before we get into that, let's break down the twisted journey that leads us there. The movie opens with Beau's daily routine, which is anything but ordinary. For a moment, it feels like the director made the movie to prank the audience, but believe me, each and every scene makes sense. Beau lives in a chaotic urban neighborhood filled with unpredictable characters and constant threats. He seems quite vulnerable, and for him, every action, from buying a water to stepping outside, feels like a life or death decision. We quickly learn that Beau's fears are deeply rooted in the relationship with his mother, Mona. She is a wealthy and controlling woman who tries to shape Beau's life the way she wants. Meanwhile, Beau's father apparently died the first night he slept with Mona. This makes Beau fear intimacy as he is forced to believe that his father and grandfather died because they got near a woman. At first, he's curious to know more about his dad, but then experiences a nightmare where Beau sees himself being locked in the attic because he questioned his mother. Though it was just a dream, it traumatized the poor boy and he never dared to speak against his mother again. The scenes shift quickly to show us a teenage Beau falling in love with a girl named Elaine. He promises to stay virgin until he meets her again, which is not difficult for Beau as he's afraid of intimacy. Time passes away very quickly and Beau reaches a middle age but never runs into Elaine again. And yup, he's still trying to keep his promise. Though he has grown up a lot, Beau's life is still an absolute mess. Besides the childhood fears, he had also developed anxiety and stress because of living alone. Moreover, he's also afraid of facing society and hardly steps out of the house. That's why he only bothers to travel when he has to meet Mona for his father's death anniversary. However, a series of increasingly absurd events ruin his plans. First, his apartment key goes missing, leaving him locked out. Then, he's attacked and robbed in broad daylight. Just as things seem like they couldn't get any worse, Beau receives a devastating phone call. His mother has died in a freak accident. Desperate to attend the funeral, Beau starts to run in panic, gets hit by a car, and stabbed by an unknown killer. Severely injured, Beau is taken in by a kind couple, Grace and Roger, but they seem to be hiding some dirty secrets. They also have a teenage daughter with severe anxiety named Tony. Also, they have this creepy veteran living with them, Jeeves, who is an unstable and traumatized war veteran. Jeeves was also a close friend of Grace and Roger's deceased son, Nathan, who died in combat. The daughter starts assuming that Beau is going to replace her dead brother, and she does not like that idea at all. One day, she tries to force Beau to drink a bunch of paint with her, but he refuses. Tony then decides to drink it all herself and dies on the spot. Instead of explaining himself, Beau prefers running away, but the creepy veteran starts following him. While escaping through the forest, he stumbles upon a traveling theater group and joins them for a play. Here, the film takes another unexpected turn, bringing us into a whole other world. Surprisingly, the play he performs mirrors his own life, and the lines blur between what is real and what is actually the play. Unfortunately, the veteran is still after him, so Beau continues to run and eventually reaches his mother's house. He misses the funeral but meets a beautiful coincidence. Elaine, his childhood sweetheart, is there too. When Beau reunites with Elaine, his childhood crush, they get right down to it. Sex, that is. And contrary to his fears, Beau survives the experience, but Elaine dies mid-climax, her body left in a frozen state of ecstasy. This outcome enforces Beau's internalized fears and the psychological manipulation he has endured, suggesting that his anxieties have the power to manifest in his reality. They finally reconnect and spend a romantic night, and of course, intimacy didn't kill Beau like his mother explained. However, Elaine died that night. This is not the only lie that Mona told her son. She even fakes her death to check Beau's love for her. As Beau has overcome his fear of intimacy, he asks again about his dad, but Mona brings his biggest nightmare to reality. Here comes what Beau is afraid of the most: the dark and creepy attic. Mona gets really angry at Beau for speaking up and locks him in the attic. There, he meets his twin brother, who was braver and questioned about his father. That's why he's been locked up in the attic all these years. Besides him, there's also a giant creepy monster that looks like a male reproductive organ. This is the absent father Beau was looking for. Now Beau is afraid of another thing: his father. Before they can interact, the veteran breaks into the house and gets killed by the monster. At first look, this scene looks totally out of place and weird. The easiest explanation for the monster could be Beau's father's role in the family. He did nothing more than get Mona pregnant, but if we consider Beau's mental state and imagination, then everything makes more sense. Symbolically, the attic represents Beau's unconscious mind, which he was never able to access before. As the attic is the highest part of the house, it also represents Beau's most repressed memories and desires. By entering this forbidden space, Beau confronts the darkest parts of himself, his childhood fears, his insecurities, and his undissolved conflict with his mother. The monster's reveal is a visual representation of these psychological struggles, while his twin brother is representing the brave version of Beau. This explanation makes the scene both horrifying and deeply meaningful. After the attic scene, the film takes an even darker turn. Poor Beau keeps apologizing to his mother, but Mona is an insensitive woman who will not forgive so easily. Moreover, she puts all the blame on Beau and makes herself the victim. Seeing her nonsense behavior, Beau gets angry and strangles Mona, which makes her fall unconscious. Beau starts to panic and tries running away on a motorboat. However, he can't escape what he did or what his mother believes he did. All of a sudden, Beau gets teleported to a crowded arena where he must face the trial for his so-called crimes. Beau doesn't have a lawyer, but he's too weak to help and eventually gets killed by Mona's employees. Seeing this, Beau accepts his defeat and gets sunk in the water. Meanwhile, Mona leaves the scene crying buckets. To understand the ending, we must understand the movie's main focus. The theme basically revolves around generational trauma, fear of intimacy, and the burden of parental expectations. The director uses dark humor and creepy scenery to create a world that's both bizarre and deeply relatable. From the chaotic streets of Beau's neighborhood to the unsettling interior of Mona's mansion, every setting is carefully crafted to reflect Beau's state of mind. It's not actually what the world around Beau looked like, but how he's perceiving it. This is how Beau saw the world because of his anxiety and childhood trauma. Mona is portrayed as a feminist who tried to raise Beau as a man she thought was perfect, a man who is not focused on intimacy but depends on a powerful woman like herself. But while doing this experiment, she ruins Beau's personality and he ends up being a scared toddler trapped in a man's body. That's why the movie is called Beau Is Afraid. Poor guy grew up scared of his mother, and each day a new fear kept adding to his list. Throughout his life, he couldn't trust anyone and the world always seemed to be going against him. Even if Elaine didn't die, she was clearly after his money and Beau wouldn't actually find true love until he healed from his past. Despite sacrificing everything and giving his best, in the end, his mother wasn't satisfied with him. This explains the whole ending scene and makes it so relatable. Many children in this world suffer from generational trauma, and instead of helping them, parents often start recalling their own suffering and make the child look like the criminal. Eventually, no lawyer or witness can save the child as they are too weak in front of their parents' never-ending disappointment and crying faces. This is exactly what happened to Beau. One more highlight of the ending scene is the audience. They seem so unbothered even though Beau was clearly innocent. This portrays how our society treats anxiety patients. It's not even considered a real disease, and patients are expected to get cured by themselves or become over-medicated. Despite its brilliance, Beau Is Afraid isn't for everyone. Its slow pacing, unconventional narrative, and surreal tone can be challenging. But for those willing to embrace its weirdness, the film offers a unique and thought-provoking experience. So, what did you think of Beau Is Afraid? Did the filthy monster creep you out? What's your theory about the wild ending? Let's talk about it down in the comments.